Alright, so this week we're talking about the text Mass Communication, Popular Taste, and Organised Social Action. So we identified the main idea in the text is that the author argues that mass media is less effective nowadays in shaping the opinions and ideas of the public. And he says that this is based on three reasons. So back in the day, propaganda had a monopolization in a lot of instances, meaning that there was no other competing theories, so people would sort of be exposed to only one type of information. Secondly, he speaks about this idea of canalization, so that people weren't being introduced to new ideas, but media was reinforcing beliefs that they may have already had. And thirdly, that people were exposed to face-to-face contact. They had the opportunity to meet up in groups, talk with people who have similar opinions about the text, or actually engage with the opinion of the person who is giving the text. So basically, the author says that neither of these three things really occur in modern-day society, and for this reason, mass media is less effective in reaching the audience.
Going off of what Oscar just said, historically, there haven't been many competing news outlets or mass media sources. Nowadays, we have a lot more, and so you use a lot more cognitive thinking. This relates to last week's lecture where we were learning about how in World War II and prior, the U.S. was a structural functionalist system. So that was, they had one mass media system, and everybody took it using their selective attention and selective exposure. They were only exposed to one thing. And so all they were doing was reinforcing their theories. We learned with research that this was less effective.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about the personal example, and one that is very relevant for me is the news about the current situation in Gaza and Lebanon. And so back to what Oscar was saying, how the mass media is not as effective as it once was. This is really shown by how personalization in social media, for example, is constantly contradicting or can contradict what mass media news outlets or channels report on. Which means the news can report one thing, a general idea of what is happening, and then I can go on Instagram or TikTok, and someone who looks like me, speaks like me, or just has similar ideas can tell me something different about what is happening.
We can use climate change as a real-world example. So, as Omar was stating about news outlets can push a certain agenda, and using the certain agenda, they relating to like the filter bubble. Like we learned that it's like the only that has like so much influence on what we think as individuals. But from today's reading, the main idea is like that it's not as strong as we think, and we have free will and free range of what we have, and we have different information. So, for example, for one group of people, they might consume a certain media, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they believe like climate change isn't real or is real. So there's nuances to what we gain from mass media. This is Group 3, and thank you all for listening.